Yo, what's good, y'all? We back once again with another video, and we're gonna be talking about the Chicago Bulls because I made a video about them probably a couple months ago. I think January. I talked about how good they were. I was talking about them in a positive light. They were playing some of the best basketball of the season. They were one of the best teams in the league. But recently, it's been some struggles, and you know what? I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna say this. They've been getting exposed. But the problem is, we just haven't been seeing it. They've been getting exposed all season, even when they were winning games. So let's talk about it. Now, obviously, they have an MVP candidate in DeMar DeRozan, playing the best season of his career. They got Zach LaVine playing alongside him. He's another all-star, putting up about 26 points a night. They've arguably been the best duo in the league this season and are the main reason why the Bulls are where they are in the play-in race in the Eastern Conference. But ever since the All-Star break, the team has been playing sub-500 basketball. They're 2-5 in the 7 games out of the break. During that span, they went on a 5-game losing streak. They did win their last game though versus Detroit in what was a pretty close game, but they did get the W there. But during this span though, something has been exposed about this Bulls team. And the fact is that they're a good team and are for sure going to the playoffs. But this team just isn't good enough to compete with the real contenders in the NBA. In the 5-game losing streak that they suffered after the All-Star break, they lost to the Grizzlies, Bucks, Heat, Sixers, Hawks. 4 of those teams are in the top 7 in the whole league. But the more alarming stat is it goes deeper than just that 5-game losing streak. It goes deeper than that. They've struggled against top teams in the league all season. And if you really look at it, the Bulls are the 8th best team record-wise in the whole NBA. The 7 teams above them, they are 1-14 against those 7 teams this season. Biggest reason why that is? Probably because I said this for a long time this season now. They just aren't deep enough of a team. They should have went after a couple bench pieces during the trade deadline if they wanted to commit to go after it this year. They should have did that. And they should have went for a backup big. They definitely should have went for a backup big because they have some problems there too. But I just think another big issue is that their defense, which is ranked 18th in opponent points per game, so slightly below average, 21st in defensive rating, is just not good enough. It's not going to cut it. More specifically, and this goes back to what I said about the bigs, the paint area defensively is an issue. They have the 5th lowest amount of total rebounds grabbed this season. They're also 24th in points per game in the paint allowed. So, do what you want with that information, but they're not a good team in the paint defensively at all. They get destroyed by any team with an above average big. For example, in their games versus Philadelphia, Joel Embiid is averaging 32 and 12 against Chicago. And against Milwaukee, Giannis is averaging 32 and 14 versus Chicago. Now, don't get me wrong, those two are obviously 2 of like the top 5 debatable best players in the NBA, Giannis being top 5, Embiid being outside of that, or if you want to put him there, go ahead. But it just still goes to show this team really doesn't have anybody in the interior that is a threat to block shots or, just a presence in there. They just don't have that guy. Nikola Vucevic is a good player. Last season, he had probably the best season of his career. He's an elite offensive big, but he's a bad defensive big man. And sometimes, it goes like that. He's great at offense, but he's bad at defense. It just goes like that. He doesn't protect the rim at all, and it's been like that for his whole career, to be honest. So they're depending on him to try to guard Embiid, to try to guard, well, not Giannis, but they're depending on him to guard Embiid and those guys like that. And it's just not going to happen. It's just not. And it also doesn't help that they're limited at the power forward spot with Javonte Green starting at that spot a lot of the time, and he's only like 6'4", playing in that position. Now, if you want to say DeRozan plays there, okay, go ahead, but he's still only 6'7". But I think also a big part of that is also Patrick Williams being hurt. He's been out since like way earlier in the season. I think it was like November, if I'm not mistaken, that he's been out. And he's out for the rest of the year, I think. But, this Bulls team just isn't a big enough threat defensively to really compete with those elite teams. Now, obviously, injuries have played a big part in their struggles also because of the fact that they are missing Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso badly. because their perimeter defense, their perimeter defense at one point was pretty solid, but it's fallen a bit with them being out, and they've dropped to like 23rd in steals per game, and they just aren't that same defensive team on the perimeter. They just aren't. The Chicago Bulls are a great feel-good story, don't get me wrong. They're a good team, and they're probably going to be good next year as well. They just need to make some moves. But this season, they just aren't a physical and defensive team to be able to compete with a Bucks, with a Sixers in a playoff series. I just can't see that happening. They'd probably rather face a Brooklyn Nets in a 7-game series just because of that reason. Because at least KD's going to drop 30 on you. You know it's going to happen. But at least you have the firepower in DeRozan and LaVine to answer back. I don't think Chicago has the firepower to answer back from an Embiid 40 piece. I just don't see that happening. They did try to patch the paint problem by signing Tristan Thompson, but let's be real, it's not going to happen. Tristan Thompson's a solid backup big, but Tristan Thompson isn't just going to make Chicago a top 10 defensive team in the paint by himself. It's just not going to happen. Derrick Jones Jr., he's cool, but he's frail. He's skinny. He's not a center. He's more of a power forward, small forward, that type of guy. So what Chicago got to do is they got to target a backup big that can block shots, rebound. And I got the perfect target. I don't want my guy to leave, but Chicago should go after him. Mitchell Robinson would be like the perfect backup big for the Bulls next season. Like I said, I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay on the Knicks, but he would be the backup. He would be the perfect backup for Nikola Vucevic next season if they want to get serious and become a for real title contender next season. Also add a couple more bench pieces, like I said before, a couple more reliable options off the bench besides Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, and that's pretty much it. You add those things, and this team could be really good next season. They really can. But they need to add a shot blocking big. They need to add some more consistent bench options, and if they do that, they can really get after it with the top dogs in the league, because DeRozan and LaVine are a big time threat or a big time duo in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to be a big-time duo in the Eastern Conference for as long as they play together, because those guys can score from anywhere on the floor. So Chicago's good, but let's pump the brakes. I think even some Bulls fans realize that this team is good, and they haven't been good in a long time, so that's saying something. It's a step in the right direction for sure. Front office should be happy with the results, but next season is where they really are going to have to be like, all right, let's go after this championship, because they have the window. They just need to make a couple more moves. Anyways, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Link will be down in the description below. This has been a checkup where we talk hoops and hoops only. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.